The corpse looks at you with bulging white eyes. The face around them does not look human. It's swollen and ready to burst. His lips are fish-like and his tongue like a ball gag in his mouth. You seem to be holding your breath. A cargo belt twists his neck at an unnatural angle. The body below appears stiff. It's letting out an ungodly rot. The smell seeps in even through your clenched nostrils.
Active decay. It's okay to throw up, officer. No one is judging.
He's about to blow! Cop's gonna blow, Kuno!
Yes? What do you want to know? No, it's not a particularly mysterious case. The deceased is a security guard for a corporation involved in a labor dispute. It doesn't take a DeLorean polymath to put the pieces together. I just don't see the case getting more mysterious than that. I can assure nothing like that will happen. Do you know why not? Good, yes. Because it's not part of reality.
So desperately mundane. You need to funk this case up. There's something the lieutenant isn't seeing. The universe is too irrational, too morally complex. You should convince him.
I'm afraid you and I are pawns in a pissing competition. You don't know? I assumed you were in on it. Better still than an imbecilic cop-off. It's just stupidity. We shouldn't waste any more time on it. If you want my take, ask me after we've inspected the victim. Later. Was there anything else you wanted to know about the case? Maybe you can tell me what you do know to help me narrow it down a bit. Do you want me to brief you? 3 days ago, the RCM Emergencies Desk received a report about a security guard who was found hanged in Martinez. An anonymous caller said there was a dead body behind the Whirling in Rags hostel cafeteria. The cadaver had been there for 4 days. No one had come to investigate. During that time, the victim had been stripped of his belongings. The caller did not identify him, but used the word lynching. There is an ongoing labor dispute between the local dock workers and the logistics company Wild Pines. I was told we should approach the death as part of this dispute. A security guard or worker of some sort, hired by Wild Pines. This was just hearsay from Martinez, of course. They didn't identify themselves in any way. The tone was muffled using a device of some sort. The desk could identify neither the caller's age nor sex. There's a strong prejudice against involving the RCM in what's seen as union matters. The dock workers' union is the de facto police in Martinez. Now it appears they've started executing too. We cannot allow that. That's us, the Revachol Citizens Militia. We're the police in this city.
The RCM, or the Revachol Citizen Militia, is the police force you and him are part of. A self-organized peace corps of the occupied city of Revachol. The RCM operates within a legal twilight, yet its authority is rarely questioned. It's super useful to know this.
Just to be clear, we are police officers. It's our job to find the killer. That's the case. Uncover and arrest the killer. You mean like a brief? Do you want me to brief you again? There's no reason to wing anything. If you didn't get the brief, that's okay. 3 days ago, the RCM emergency. During that time, the victim had been stripped. Okay then. What? Good. Me? I don't see how my life is pertinent to the investigation. That's a fair point. All right, for the good of the investigation, what do you want to know? That's correct.
You feel a slight urge to put the lieutenant down for this, but you can't quite muster enough testosterone.
Are they? They are mostly just cumbersome.
You could use a good, normal peer yourself.
That's because I'm half Seolite, or quarter. My father's father was from Seoul. So was my grandmother, but from my mother's side. It's not an interesting topic. It's a part of the world, officer. A geopolitical entity and a geographic division. I told you it wouldn't be interesting.
Seoul is a protectionist, isolationist, pan-Isolari state west of the Insulindian Isola. Actually, it's quite interesting. Some would even say mysterious.
You're barking up the wrong tree. I don't speak a word of Seolite. I've never met either one of my grandparents, and I've never been to Seoul. I'm a regular Revacholier. No.
The lieutenant nods.
What do you mean? I have no idea what you're talking about.
The lieutenant's conceptualization skills must be rather rudimentary.
I can't say that it does, no. When I need to think, I just use my notebook.
The lieutenant produces his small blue notebook and idly thumbs through a few pages. We all have our different mediums. His is written. You're super lucid, yet psychedelic. You don't need office supplies to connect to your nervous system. You're special.
Good. Let's change the subject.
Guillaume Le Million. Bad news. Guillaume Le Million did not become a cop. In '38, he went on a tour to the Sinyao province in Safre, where he died of autoerotic asphyxiation. His body was found hanging from a decorative dragon tree in his junior suite amid drug paraphernalia, unwholesome objects, and the Sylvia Trainer single, Wonderland, skipping in the background. And yes, you can take this as a metaphor for Revachol in the 30s, and also as a warning. A thin man is smoking below an exhaust hood, occasionally sipping from his mug. As you step in, he nods toward the table and says something in a completely foreign language. The only words you can make out are Garancy and Kubek. Okay, it's definitely not his name. Whatever you do, please don't call him Garancy Kubek. Please, it's not funny. The man puts his cup down and replies something, his left hand drawing arcs in the air. He smiles and bangs his ladle against each of his pots in turn. It's almost like music, especially with the sounds of assorted dishes boiling and simmering on the stove. You see a heavy steel door with a prominent dimple lock. It's painted blue.
You do? It's a door in the back of the kitchen. Why do you care where it leads? Yes, I suppose it's worth seeing if we can get in. Just to be thorough, as a side investigation. If you say so, Gart is the person to ask about this. The cafeteria manager.
The door does not budge.
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. I love those. Oh, yes, that door, sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. It's just a door. No, I don't have a key. I don't know how to get there. And I don't care either. It's not like I've been wondering about it for 10 years. It's just a frit warehouse, probably. Or some boring storage space with a bunch of old junk and dust. Junk and dust.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing.
Fine, okay, a little. But my job doesn't leave me time for wondering about one locked door in one of the cafeterias I manage. So I haven't opened it. I have cleaned the whole place 100 times over, though, after the animals. And I haven't found a key, so good luck with that. Yes?
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely... A tarpaulin cloak is still caught on the railing. No one has claimed it for their own. Nope, no. That's still too high. What were you thinking? You're not a gymnast. You're a boxer. And you've climbed way too high up there. You could have died there. Shit, 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 shit. I'm failing you.
Hey, hey! What happened? I understand. We can always come back when you are feeling better. It's just a cloak after all.
Hello again, sweetie.
Wait, who's Sweetie?
You're a handsome man, officer, with your mustache and your chiseled jaw and that silly dimple on your chin. But dear, you're not for me. I'm too old and too married besides. You must forgive me. I'm getting so scatterbrained. I completely forgot to introduce myself. I'm Lena. My husband Morel and I are staying with our friend Gary just down the street, but I come here for tea when they're away.
This Lena is wacky enough for the motley crew. Hire her on the spot.
Oh, sweetie, I heard your conversation with the manager about your financial troubles. When do you get your next paycheck?
Try to force a tear out of your duct. Really rip into the whole emotional aggression thing.
Officer, get a hold of yourself, please.
Sweetie, I'm sorry, but I think you need more help than I can give you. Oh, no, I'm so sorry I don't have money for you. If there's anything else I can do for you... Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Like a stunned fox. But surely things can't be that bad. Oh, my. You know where we are, right? That's right. In a hostel called the Whirling in Rags, to be precise. The new disco dancing. It seems like a lifetime ago. Much has changed, but it is still the most beautiful city in the world. A rare jewel set in the sand between the pines. Everyone says so, even foreigners. Speaking of history, you know what year it is, yes? That's right, dear. How splendid. Here, take this pen. Knowledge should always be rewarded.
Her relief is palpable. She was getting pretty worried about you there, but now she relaxes her shoulders.
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? Oh, sweetie, it's really not. There used to be people who thought that way. Revachol is a zone of control led by an alliance of foreign powers called the Coalition. We have almost no government of our own, and certainly no dictatorship of the proletariat.
But they still have cops.
Oh dear. And you were doing so well. There aren't any cops in Revachol, not in the traditional sense. The status of law enforcement has been a complicated matter since the revolution. But we should stop for today, sweetie. You look like you need a break. Besides, I'm not the best person to explain the big things to anyone.
She's scared now. She's realized you really are brain damaged.
You were doing quite well up until the end there. It does look like you're having trouble remembering things. History and places. Remembering reality in a word. It's very odd.
A sigh. The lieutenant buries his nose in his notebook.
But maybe a fresh set of eyes is what the world needs. And while I'm no doctor, such bouts of amnesia are often temporary, so I wouldn't worry too much. Someone more educated in sweeping matters. Maybe you should ask.
No, I'm not an encyclopedia. I won't be a guide either. I'm a detective.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Wealthy people are educated. Though I don't know where you would find a wealthy person in Martinez. Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Oh my. That's right. In a hostel called the Whirling in Rags, to be precise. The new disco dance much has changed. Speaking of history, that's right.
Her relief is
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? Precisely, sweetie. Revachol is what's called a zone of control, led by an alliance of foreign powers. It is quite disappointing, yes. A lot of people would like some form of representation. There's talk, but for now, the RCM is all we've got. Oh dear. But we should stop.
She's scared now.
Someone more.
No.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Of course, dear. Good luck with your case.
The door is closed.
Yes?
Kim also tries not to look at the pile of taped viscera on the carpet, or the weird suitcase on the hat rack, or the potted plant dying in the corner. But it's all just too morbid to ignore.
And by that you mean crimes against humanity? I have no idea what that means.
That sugary black rum stain on the counter makes you teary-eyed with joy. It's almost touching how syrupy and sticky it is. How long have you been up already? An hour would have been bad. 2 hours is mystical. You have truly wiped out all trace of yourself if you haven't thought about rum and lemonade yet. There he is, the old boy, the devil. You rascal, you. Let's celebrate right now by licking that stain off the counter. Do it. It'll be wild. Calmly, the lieutenant looks out of the window, then to you, licking the tasty rum stain off the counter, then out of the window again.
What are you doing? We should move.
A real drink would go well with those cigarettes you're looking for. That's a great combination. Well, hello. Someone seems to have found himself a bottle of alcohol. Here's light reflects off the green glass of the Commodore Red. The gods have been generous. Wow, the gods of mass production have made this alcohol container laughably easy to open. A child could have done it. There's a satisfying pop as the cork jumps out, and the hair on your back rises like an army at attention. You've been here before. Welcome back, detective. Despair creeps into you, getting fat on your weakness. Whatever noble intentions you once had as a police officer, it's eating them all up now. You're still coming up with sentences. That's a step up from total annihilation, right?
Fuck me? Please leave the rage you have for after we finish the investigation.
Nothing you can say would make you feel any better now. Cop gives up the detective genre for social realism. Another police officer resigned from the RCM following a nervous breakdown. He now lives under a bridge, drinking and occasionally throwing excrement at passers-by, shouting, "I never loved that woman." When asked to comment, Former colleagues objected to the theory that his psychological disintegration was precipitated by his wife leaving him. It's because the Furrows lost that match, said Captain Ptolemy Price, once the man's superior officer. It's because he couldn't get a big gun from acquisitions, and anyway, police work really burns you out after a while, Satellite Officer Jean-Vic Mayer, the deranged former cop's partner, commented. Sergeant.
Hello again, sweetie.
The lieutenant, wait, who's Sweetie?
You're a handsome, but dear, you must forget I'm Lena.
This Lena is wacky enough for the motley crew.
Yes, officer. You look rather dazed. Oh my. That's right. In a hostel called the New. Much has changed. Speaking of history, that's right, dear.
Her relief is...
I can tell that this is taxing for you, so I'll just ask one more question. What regime are we living under? What mode of government? Actually, we are not. You could say that about almost any other nation, but not Revachol. Try it one more time, officer. What mode of government? Oh, no. Nothing.
She's trying to avoid the foreigner's part. This is because
Oh, dear. But we should...
she's scared now. She's real...
defeat, I'm afraid. The people of this archipelago tried to build something new, something different. The rest of the world didn't like it, so they came and ended it. This was 42 years ago. It has something to do with everything. Someone more...
No.
Of course. Then I don't know. Someone rich, maybe? Of course, dear.
That sugary black rum, an hour would have been bad. There he is, the old boy, calmly.
What are you doing? We should move.
A real drink would go. Well, hello. Lights reflect. Wow, the gods of there's a satisfying pop as nothing. Some mental stuff. The golden sun melts down your throat. Its rays filling your nostrils with sunshine. Your stomach melts from it into a happy, gooey mess. So does your mind. All the bad things are melting. You're you again. A real cop. A real detective. Incredibly well done. From the void we came, and to the void we must return. A tarpaulin cloak is still caught on the railing. No one.
Hello again, officer. How are things? Well, this might be the last snow we get. At least I hope so. Snow has nutrients in it. Helps everything green up in the spring. At least that's what my grandma always told me.
Yes, think about the cute grandma, not the weird snow. Stop looking at her. Look around. What do you see? That's right. And the canal, the bookstore, the harbour gates. This is a great vantage point for keeping an eye on you.
No, of course not. I don't understand what this is about. The kid did this, right? The red-haired rat? Can't say a sentence without or kipped. He's always giving me trouble. Maybe you shouldn't be. I mean, you do your job, but that kid is beyond help. And he certainly won't help you.
You've been resting here for quite a while, haven't you?
Yes, I'm tired.
I understand. The RCM isn't welcome here, and the locals want to keep an eye on us.
There's silence, the smallest of smiles.
That's okay, miss. Do what you have to do. I think we're done here. Let's go.
Welcome to Revachol.
Don't you welcome to Revachol me. My grandfather came here from a 3,000-year-old racist isolationist culture, while your ancestors came to this island a mere 300 years ago. Every school of thought and government has failed in the city, but I love it nonetheless. It belongs to me as much as it belongs to you. It's men like you who keep Revachol divided, making it that much harder for everyone to climb out of this post-war limbo.
What he means is, fixation on the Revacholian nation makes it harder for Revachol to actually attain self-determination.
Oh, come on, man. I just said, welcome to Revachol. It's a lorry driver thing.
I know exactly what you meant. You think my kind doesn't belong here, that I should watch myself and behave. But you see, I'm an officer of the RCN. It's actually my job to make sure you behave. I would advise you to remember that.
Silence. The air between them becomes tense. Your partner needs backup. Now's your moment to shine.
Whatever you say, officers. Oh, not much anymore. I'm here to pick up some cargo, but the dock workers are on strike, so it's a sit and wait on your ass situation. Apples?
Apples is exactly the kind of thing you'd say if you had something to hide.
Yeah, apples? I take it you had other questions? Oh, not much anymore. I'm here to pick up some cargo, but the strike? Oh, they've been at it for a while. A month, 2 months maybe. But this here is apples.
Apples is exactly the...
Look, as detective. I come from a long line of lorrymen. We got ancient rights and privileges. Oh, I'm here to pick up a load of fucking apples, man. Just regular, Koiko-picked apples.
Damn, you're not gonna get more out of him on this. He's put up the wall of racism.
Yeah, they're a big deal. My great-grandfather was a carter, had a royal license and everything. We've tried to hold on to our privileges. Someone with a cart? What did you think it was? That's how deep into history our thing reaches, before machines. Sure fucking is. We have a guild and everything, huh? Very ancient, very prestigious. Hell no, it's a guild. Invitation only. Unions work for the rich fucks. They're basically the same. Been trying to fuck us out of our heritage in the name of profit, but you can't replace experience. Trusting street thugs with their goods is going to fuck them right up the ass.
You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display of croissants and juice bottles. The raincoats are transparent, except...
What is what? It's a raincoat. If you want to buy one...
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents.
Oh, that's the tear machine.
Scab?
You're hazy on the notion of a scab. Smells like politics, though. Maybe it's got something to do with the flask he reaches for from time to time. What did he just call you? Oh no, not this again. You just got away from that fucking kid.
I was just messing with you. No one's ever seen a cop scab. Imagine, you cops going on a strike, but then another cop comes in and says, let us cop for less money. Speaking of, what brings the RCM here, to the Wild North? Come to see the strife? You know, serious business. I'm sure the big boss will be glad to tell you.
He's a chatty guy. Wants to talk about the strike. Return once you've met the union boss and are on a better footing with the organization.
Murder, huh? That sounds like a lot of hard work. You'd never see me investigating a murder. Of course, Policia. It wasn't me. You can rule me out. Easier that way.
He didn't do it. It's the truth.
My friend, I respect the right to roam. The open range awaits. I don't operate in that capacity. I'm not a granter of passage. The passage grants itself.
If it's all so simple, why don't the strikebreakers just go up the stairs?
Aye. Walk right past Measurehead and go in. Yeah, the 2.5 meter tall Semini Supremus is there. Walk right past him, then press the button to unlock the door, then go past him again, and you enter the arbor through the office. Está. Don't worry, I'm sure it's not completely impossible. For example, you could best Measurehead in a physical confrontation, or you could convert to a Semini Supremacist worldview. Or, maybe it actually is completely impossible. Jean-Luc himself would say the philosophy has proven overly heroic for the scabs to convert to. Not yet, no. He's incredibly strong.
Nothing a couple of solid hooks from Dexter and Sinister won't fix.
Sure.
Nobody betrays your degeneracy.
Yeah, Measurehead. His body totally betrays his degeneracy.
That is precisely the negligence that has led you to succumb to Al Ghul. You reek of it. An invisible sword of Al Ghul emerges from your throat. You cannot see it, but others can. It is making the woman in my company sick. Your mouth moves, but the one who speaks is Al Ghul. You are but a vessel for the Ghul now. Very little of yourself remains. Occidental Haplogroup B4 is done giving orders around here. The influence of the ham sandwich race is waning.
Does this remind you of someone? The guy down there?
Jerking motions, signs of a late-stage neurodegenerative disorder. How far the Occidental Haplogroup has fallen. You were once a noble and powerful race. You gave the world eugenics, electricity, and powerful weapons of war like missiles and aerostatic aircraft. You made great gains in metallurgy, race theory, and statecraft. You dominated lesser cultures, like the deformed Hemians and the inexplicably potato-obsessed Khoikos. But now your ascent to the genetic summit has halted. You are obsessed with sadness and with frivolous pop culture. You will be superseded. Isn't that right, babe?
It is, baby, yeah. You know it.
There is a button right behind him, just out of reach. It must be the one that opens the door to the harbor.
Enough with this begging. You should leave the stage of history with dignity by inviting the other races to a great world war. Bring your troops to the Simenon Islands and to Boogie Street, and we will pulverize you. When you are gone, we will build a museum for you. The walls will be lined with bottles of Al Ghul, your beloved beverage. Inside, we will store the odes to homosexuality you call art, and your microcephalic skulls.
This is your chance. He's talking. Rip into him with a punch and catch him off guard. No, there's a peaceful solution. You could internalize Measurehead's race theory. He would take you as one of his own. Well, yes. Why? Don't you want to be a Seminese supremacist? So what if you're not Seminese? You can be anything. Go ahead. Don't be shy. Just ask for race secrets. That's understandable. Jean-Luc Measurehead is a sage and an intellectual giant of race theory. Who are you, handmaiden of Al Ghul? How did this happen? Your little fist is in his giant hand, and he's...
You must be out of your mind, degenerate drunk.
Your fist cracks in his hand like a ripe apple. Pain shoots up into your...
The words to the song have changed. Say, I am a violent drunk.
Your hand twists in his grip, and the pain blinds you. Still, you press the words out of your swollen mouth.
Good. Now leave before you humiliate your homoerotic organ.
Yeah, Measurehead. His body totally betrays his degeneracy.
That is precise. You reek of it. An invisible sword.
It's not good.
It's like a rat crawled into your stomach, got drunk and drowned.
No, you don't. You need to get...
Does this remind you of someone? The guy down there?
Jerking mode. You gave the world. You dominate. You will be...
It is, babe.
There is a button right behind him, just out of reach. It must be the one that opens the door to the harbor.
Enough. Bring your troops to this. The walls will be...
This is your chance. No, there's a peaceful solution. You could, well, yes. Why? Don't you want to be? Ask what kind of races there are first. Classification is core to this stuff.
Do you?
You are obviously a liberal, Sailite. A polyculturalist. I can see it from your love of technology and your sartorial choices. You not deny your friend the truth you have denied yourself. There are 3 categories of race. Type A, the heroic races. Type B, the servile races. And the vile CF race cauldron of pederasty. Which one do you need education on? Those are the Simonese, the Areopagite, and the Occidentals, excluding the Maun, of course. The Maun are riddled with eczema to the point where they find it impossible to smile. They are all lactose intolerant, a common result of inbreeding. A receding genetic pool has led the Maun on reprehensible street parades. In Maun cities like Stadskanal and Vredefort, wearing wooden clogs on their feet and little green tassels on their hats. You know them by the names of their nation-states. The Oranese, the Gotwaldians, and the Königsteiners. My people simply call them Maun.
Mahun is a derogative term for First World people of Gotwaldian descent. They do not all have eczema. Also, people of Katla, like the Suru and the Uhu, are much more lactose intolerant. In some municipalities of Oranje, people do wear shoes made of wood to street parades. Green, orange, and even yellow tassels have also been seen on hats.
The Maun are proof that you can have too much Occidental racial purity and tassel-centric culture. Inbreeding has led to a lactose-intolerant subrace whom no one can take seriously.
Colorful tassels are, let's be honest, not a good sartorial choice for this century. You might want to avoid wooden clogs too.
The Vespertines and Messenians of Vesper and Messina, the ancient Meteorans of Meteo by the golden Pisantic Sea, the Suren of Sur-la-Clé, and even the North Königsteiners, all the other large Mondial civilization, the Mesk, are too yellow and oleaginous to count as a heroic race. True, they are violent and expansionist, but they have a glandular problem. Overproduction of sebum. Sebum is leaking into their brains, making them listen to El Mariachi music and eat toxic minced meat-based food, which in turn only produces more sebum. As proven by the Maun and the Mesk, Occidental Type A is in retrograde. The Simonese and the Areopagite are on the ascent. The Areopagites are sleek, long-headed. The Simonese are powerful, mesomorphic. The former is an immutable progenitor, unchanged since the Super Isola of Pericarnassus. Ancient brains rest in their slender skulls. The latter is perfected and adapting. Together they form the Simeno-Areopagite or Simeopagite super race. That is all. There are no more Type A races in the world. Type B are the unheroic races, amorphous non-competitors of the great race. The Khoikos and the Vacholier, they are mud-colored people.
The Khoikos of Grad, Yugo, Zhimsk, Chest et al. Are what you would call white, officer, in a suspect description.
Yes, to an untrained eye, the Khoiko appear white and pinkish, like a ham sandwich. But look into their eyes and you will see. They are of an indistinct color, and so is their skin. Unhealthy, muddy, and ashen. Pinkness is a racial quality that has to be earned through centuries of advanced ballistic warfare and cultural domination that the Grad people have undergone for drinking Al Ghul and smoking the degenerate tobacco, and for eating potato. The Khoikhoi, the countless micronationalities of Grad, are all inexplicably obsessed with Podat. The only thing they like more is dividing into microscopic ethno-states, like political amoeba.
Wouldn't he be one for ethno-states?
The Vasholians, halfway between Type A and the racial Cauldron. Two makes to know right from wrong. You tried your degenerate little revolution, which was the single greatest failure committed by humans in our 82,000-year history on this planet.
Is it 82,000 years that we've been recording history? You have very little idea of what is happening, but that seems a little off.
The revolution came to Ravachol from Grad, in Zarath-ridden potato carts. It is literally an illness, a prion disease that leaves the parietal and frontal lobe ridden with holes. A soft, sponge-like mass of dementia, hallucination, and paranoia. The revolution is fatal familial insomnia. A hereditary prion condition passed from the Khoikhoi to the Occidentals. But not sexually. Probably through trade routes and potate acid, the prime component of the potato plant. Enough of Tibet mediocrity. Chips CF are a museum of failed chimeric experiments and tragic maladaptations. They are tortured creatures waiting to be put to sleep. Your morbid interest in them worries me. Lesser races like the mosquito, a grotesque mixture of a masked woman and a Seminese man. Only possible if the mother is masked and the father Seminese. The other way around, they fail to produce offspring. The mosquito is born sterile, like a donkey. All they have left is to ride customized motor carriages with hydraulic suspension, listening to aggressive El Mariachi music to vent their
It seems unlikely that two human beings produce genetically sterile offspring.
You are right. You have misunderstood. You lack basic phylogenetic education. Then there is the Semino-Koiki Chimera. Are you sure you wish to know of the Semino-Koiki Chimera? It is not an aesthetic site. The Khoikhoi, as you know, are very servile, especially when they meet the rich man. Racial scientists have toyed with the idea of crossing the Seminese with the Khoikhoi to produce a super worker of Seminese strength and Grad servility. This will never happen. The Seminese and the Khoikhoi may have similar interbreeding problems as the mosquito. We will never know precisely. No Seminese man could maintain an erection in the suffocating potato stench of a Khoikhoi woman, or Khoika. But enough. It is cruel to entertain ourselves with the deformities of Type CF. You understand nothing. To solve the great race enigma, you have to first ask yourself, What is the race enigma? You have not even worded the mystery, let alone solved it. You need to internalize what you have heard here today, then return to me. This clarity does not come instantly. I cannot possibly imagine what else we have to discuss, Gilbert Vacholian. Your love for disco music and venereal disease? The unpromising race pupil returns. Don't be vulgar. White or not has got little to do with this. The race enigma runs much deeper than that. Mr. Clare is a man of vision and means. He has the will to confront polycultural capital. Something your race, naivistic communists, never did. Also, to serve is noble. It takes discipline. Your petulant individualism has only contributed to your race failure. It is lax and moronic. Jam. Individualism. You have gotten these ideas from degenerate youth culture, have you not? You have picked them up from rock and roll songs? Rock and roll is moribund. Only Koikos listen to it anymore. There is no life left in it. My people abandoned it long ago. It leads only to neurodegenerative herpes and heroin overdoses. I am not surprised you enjoy it so much. This has happened to many of the side products of the inevitable cultural victory of the Seminoles race. The South Island race, haplogroup A4A. We are the rightful masters of the Insulindian archipelago. We descend from the Areopagites of ancient Pericamasis and arrived here 4,000 years ago. We are the future. That is all you need to know. I am a descendant. The narrow streets of Ulumbuir are with me in my genetic dreams. I see young Seminoles women walk into the grey mass on Ile de Fantôme, waiting on immaculate conception from the pale. No, I have heard about it on the radio. I'm from Couronne, and no, it is not just in Revachol. The city is central to the Simony strategy. Spreading through its trade networks, our culture will dominate the world. You have heard enough about our phylogenetic secrets for today. You have extinction to come to terms with, and never getting into the harbor.
I think this racist is better than the last. But the next racist will be the really good one.
That will be the...
There always is.
Race is reality. racists are generally not very good examples of their race. I am not like them. I am craniometric perfection. I have taken the trouble to permanently draw a phrenologic grid on my skull and features. This should dispel any doubt. Correct.
As you turn, a bright light catches your eye, making you squint. From a distant sunset, a stage light, flash photography, nowhere in particular. It's just what superstar law officers do. They squint at lights, and they solve shit. Yeah, you have. You're a big dick cop, Dick Mullen, Salem Rocky Baye, badass on-the-edge disco cop. Time to recede into a ludicrous fantasy world. Here we go. Camera, lights. With a sudden flash, the world freezes around you, and you along with it. In an iconic monochrome solution, a black silhouette against a rasterized orange world.
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you?
Yes?
Bastards! We have a right to work! Hold up and stay frosty, everyone. Cops are here.
You here to fuck with us? Beat the honest worker down.
We're here to fight for a cause. Stripes usually have problems with people who have causes. Ha! Couldn't handle us. Cause gives the workers strength, gives them power. We have a right to work!
Besides, we're not that different. It helps if people see us talking, cops and strikebreakers together. Shows authorities are on our side. Builds confidence. Maybe you should ask them the questions, like why we're not allowed to make a living here.
Shame on you!
We have families to feed, you piece of shit.
So do we, Scott.
Not before you get in there and get your ass whooped. Learn by failure, I always say.
He might have some advice, but you got to at least try to fight Measurehead first. Return if you fail.
We were promised work. We'd be in there, working, if the bastards hadn't shut the gates. Main gate's locked. Would take heavy ordnance to bust it open. Could try to get in through the Secretary's office. Door's locked. The guards blocking the way to the access panel. And I don't mean the scrawny mess punk either. I mean head measurer. Or whatever he is. Why don't you go arrest them instead? I'm sure they've done plenty of criminal shit. They have that look.
It would be better for the neighborhood if you went home, at least for now, if you can't get in anyway.
No! They will give up eventually. Or get drunk. Leave the button unguarded. Then, we charge. When a bunch of ungrateful, lazy cockroaches can't get their act together, decide to block honest work for other people. Beats me. They mumble nonsense about boardrooms and workers' rights, while we have the right to work!
There's something odd in the way he carries himself. His set of clothing looks vaguely mismatched. The different pieces of the attire seem ill-fitting. His shirt is far too small and an unpleasantly tight fit, while the overalls, held up by a belt, seem to fit a man with much more corpulence. He ignores your question, choosing instead to turn to the emaciated workers, raising both fists in the air. The clothes are obviously not his. Silence is the answer. There's something off here, but he won't say what.
Have fun. Union shits are on full strike. Don't think they're going to let you through the gates. You trying to meet their fat boss? I know nothing about a murder. Wouldn't put it past these harbor bugs. They'd do anything to stay alive. Right to work! It's shameful. Cops doing nothing. You should bring backup, open up the gates for us. Blockading gainful employment for workers is a crime.
We are not picking a side in this just yet, sir.
Pity. Let us work!
A lorry stuck in the traffic jam. This big, heavy Grad-made machine is well kept for such an old machine. The windows are clear. They've been recently washed. You can see a lorryman's cabin with personal belongings, stickers, insignia. The driver has adorned his space with a substantial collection of peculiar paraphernalia. Proclamations about honor, strength, and purity. The back end of the cabin has a small perch to sleep, large ashtrays. There are several suns and wheels sewn into the curtains. A book with ragged edges catches your notice. The front cover features a large, muscular man. The title reads, Man from Eamdal in the Lost City of the Pygmies.
Racist nationalist paraphernalia. Not unusual in this part of town. This is our guy. Likely, yes. This guy's proud of who he is. Drapes it all over his machine.
small, wrinkled woman does not greet you. She nods along to something on her radio. A photograph is clutched in her hands, and there is a warm smile on the photo, an ambrotype from the turn of the century, as golden as her smile. No response. Wherever this woman is, your words fail to reach her.
Wait. She's just a distracted old woman. Better to leave her alone.
Even by the standards of the Philippian kings, old sumptuous Philip was known for his profligacy. Well, he blew through the whole national treasury, starting the decline of one of the penultimate century's greatest superpowers, the suzerain of Revachol. His own maladministration foreshadowed the fall of the monarchy. During the anti-centennial revolution, an end to his family line and the monarchy. And the stories have it that he had his bedroom converted into a treasure chamber, where he stored unfathomable wealth. Krugerrands, bars of gold, ornate weaponry. There were whispers he slept on a huge pile of gold-dipped feathers, like some obese dragon, instead of a bed, like a normal person. But wait, you haven't even heard about his fabled cocaine addiction. You see, old Philippe wasn't just good at squandering the national treasury on gold and ceremonial weaponry, he was also a prodigious snorter of nose candy. Not just any nose candy though. We're talking Royal Philippian Blow, allegedly twice as potent as the stuff you find nowadays. And purple. Philippian cocaine was purple. That's what the revolutionaries said 150 years later, right before they emptied out the royal mausoleum and dumped His Majesty's mortal remains in the Insulindian Bay. Beneath the cold waters of the Insulindian Bay, thrown there by the revolutionaries after they cleaned out the royal mausoleum. The original was blown apart by communards, then further damaged during the landing of the coalition's airships during the turn-of-the-century revolution, when Martinez was leveled. Most historians think the coalition's hasty landing may have ultimately saved the statue. If the communards had more time, they would have reduced it up to even finer pieces. Some years ago, a group of liberal, artistically inclined individuals, designers mostly, thought it would be ironic to restore the statue of the most wasteful ruler of Revachol in the poorest part of the city. The statue is supposed to capture the moment it was blown apart, like an instant frozen in time, a rare butterfly trapped in amber, floating on a sea of shit. People in Martinez tend to disagree, as do many prominent art critics and thought leaders with more nuanced social awareness than the young ironists. Philip III, the squanderer, however, with his bronze face up in the air, doesn't seem concerned about what the hoi polloi think of him in death. Not that he ever did in life either.
gander and a hunter and a gatherer.
A simple little cadence. He seems to be making it up as he goes.
You sure are, my man.
Yes, people get that you are the law. You really don't have to keep saying it.
It's the jam, my man. It's a traffic jam for the ages. Harbor gates up the street are shut tight, no explanation given. Workers on strike, scabs agitating, an all-around clusterfuck. Meanwhile, we're all stuck here in long-haul limbo for days upon days upon days. Feels like forever. Like I was born on this here roundabout and this was all I ever knew. Just me and the metal and the tires, the oil and the fumes of mazout. Yeah, imagine. It's been a whole week already. So tell me, what do you need? It's like, whatever's going on over at the docks. Workers got a blockade set up, making demands, no way in or out. Some pretty wild stuff, I hear. Like a giant new power crane in half the company? I forget what exactly. Good on them, I guess. I've heard talk there's a company rep in town, too. Like, a strike negotiator type. They'd know what's up. Precise demands and so on.
Ah, yes, from the Wild Pines. We'll meet her soon enough, I'm sure.
They want to keep that money flowing in, my man. Ka-ching.
He doesn't blame them, but he's not on their side. That's for sure.
Anything else? Yeah, this ain't really my area of expertise. I just do my job and get paid. I have things to do and places to be. All of us do. Us lorry drivers. Camionneurs. You still hang around here waiting for this mess to end. Most have scurried off somewhere to get drunk or high. Or laid. Not that I blame them, really. Not my thing. Chasing transient pleasures is a drag these days. I prefer the examined life now. Thinking, reflecting, observing.
What's better than chasing transient pleasures? The more transient, the better. When one's ended, you can get onto the next one. He tries his best to look nonchalant, but there's a rigidity in him, as if trying to conceal something warm and deep beneath a cool exterior.
Huh? Oh. No, I ain't got any money. They don't want to pay for unfinished work. The bosses, man. Dunno. What you need? He ain't one of us drivers. I know that. All accounted for. Otherwise, I haven't really asked about that. Been wasting time right here. Keep him busy.
It's easy to see he's telling the truth. He's kept his nose out of the dark stuff.
Analyzing the fundamental structural and psychological conditions of being stranded in the midst of a sea of motor lorries and their sad, despondent chauffeurs. A sense of surprise there ain't more bodies hanging from more trees. Oh, high-grade narcotics, illegal firearms, stuff like that.
Relax. He's merely joking.
Ha! No, I'm joking, my man. Found runs a nice, clean business. This haul of cargo is mostly sporting goods. You know, tracksuits and that kind of thing. They usually get shipped to Grad in the Occident, though we've been making headway in the Il Moran market lately. We're pals and all, but I can't just freely hand out the merchandise. The bosses won't be happy. This rockin' beauty. Sure is, like a rash you can't get rid of. You interested in heavy-duty cargo machinery?
A motor lorry, also called a camion, on Caillou and neighboring islands. This one looks roughed up enough, to be some sort of found rust bucket. Maybe the A6?
Good eye, my man. Yup, she's an old one, but reliable. Me and her spent a long time together.
The man taps his fingers rhythmically against his arm.
Don't be a stranger.
The worn and beaten wooden planks of the bench do not look overly comforting.
We can sit on benches after we've solved the murder. Let's go.
Life doesn't need to be a struggle. I'll be with you in a moment, officer. Let me just finish my sandwich. Talk to Angry Hog René first.
Have you no shame? Whining about your back every time you bring out the measuring tape.
René, you're a man with a fork in a world of soup. Please, let's just try to enjoy the game, all right?
I'm trying to, but you keep breaking my concentration. You're old. I can see that. We're both old. Now stop grabbing your ass like it's a girl.
These manly men are playing balls. This is a ball game. Grab a ball and play it. Don't ask questions. That's the spirit. Don't even waste your breath asking about the game. They wouldn't know anyway. They're way past their prime. You are immediately surprised by the ball's lack of weight. No matter, you'll make it work. God, this is right. You feel the familiar tremble of excitement and adrenaline that precedes every victory.
Merde! Bordel de merde!
A whorehouse of shit? It wasn't whorehouse of shit. The shot was at least 23 meters, probably 24, and then some. Nothing to be embarrassed about.
What the hell is your problem? You vandalized our game, son! We can't play pétanque with 5 bull! No! We are not good, goddammit! We want our bull back!
Take it easy, René. This is just a misunderstanding, isn't it, officer? No harm done.
Of course there's harm done, you orange slug! You owe us a goddamn bull! Good. Mistakes are forgiven, when men at least try to right their wrongs. I believe you will try. Now, why did you approach us?
Yes, why did you come here? It's unlikely they know anything about the murder.
Unfortunately, I don't. Unlike most of the locals, I have no qualms about assisting law enforcement, but this affair has passed me by completely. In Martinez, the union is the law, so can you really blame them? Cop is a pejorative term. I don't have a problem with policemen. On the contrary, I admire the effort to bring order to our streets.
He doesn't know about the crime. Your time is better spent discussing politics.
I'm confident they are indispensable in regard to all the paperwork and other administrative duties. But you must agree that nature, in her infinite wisdom, has made men more fit to perform certain, more challenging tasks, don't you, officer? No reason to even feel bad about that. It's just the way of the animal kingdom. Ah, yes! King Philip III, on his steed. A reminder of what Revachol once was.
Oh, absolutely. At the mercy of a cocaine-snorting tyrant who emptied the treasury so he could sleep on a bed of gold.
A superpower, feared and respected. A testament to what this country can be under the leadership of a true king. Someone who knows how to rule. Decisively, without fear of offending the sensibilities of the frail and weak-minded among his subjects. This is something the insurgents never understood. A nation is only as strong as its leader. That's why it was such madness to try to...
Don't get started on that again. What happened, happened.
The carabiner doesn't reply, but his entire being communicates unbreakable.
Right.
This coin-operated viewer is facing south. The instruction manual says to insert 25 centimes and pull the handle, while your money disappears into the coin slot. A clunk, the ring of metal. The curtains on the display open. You lean in to catch the view. It's blurry, different blues and greens. In the middle of the shimmer stands a drab grey shape. The lenses shift. The ghost sharpens into an islet in the bay. In the ruins, a man-made structure is visible, a half-sunken sea fort, its concrete almost reconquered by nature. It looks as if it was abandoned quite some time ago. Nothing but a rotten tooth remains of the anti-aircraft tower.
Really? I don't have the eyesight to make it out.
Lonesome, long way home. Here we go. Home awaits. Walk past Station 41 and through the market, past the Boogie Street spearhead to the other side of the lake, the frozen eye at the center of the district. Then past the video rental store on the corner. There, at the end of a street lined with pine trees, a small house no larger than a matchbox. 11 Voyager Road. You no longer live there. Those times are gone. And so are those people. Why did you come here? Why are you still here? And where's the dealer? This coin-operated viewer is facing southwest. Its coin slot is full of fossilized bubblegum, rendering the machine permanently inaccessible. The metal feels cold and wet under your palm. It looks unhygienic. A thick layer of graffito covers the lenses. You spell out the word Onuk written on the other side, with N and C scribbled backwards. Under the graffito, a sea of blues and greys appear. Behind the water lies a coast studded with concrete and reeds. On it, a church on stilts, lanky weather-worn wooden planks, an X-shaped cross topping its tower. You know this to be the Star of Pericarnassus, or the Cairo, the central symbol of the Pericarnassian Church, a star, a great moral height to be strived towards. Around the large wooden building you see chunks of sea ice gathered on the beach, and a small tent set up on the ice. The sight of bullet holes stirs something in you, making you forget the lieutenant's surname. The faded marks are too degraded to draw any forensic conclusions, just chips in the sandstone. They look pretty ancient.
Where? There? Those are old. Yes, the one that happened half a century ago. Those bullets were fired during the revolution and do not warrant an investigation by officers of civil law. Not much. I don't have a fresh perspective on it. Shall we go?
You see rows of toy soldiers guarding the rest of the trinkets displayed on the table. Some on horseback, others in rags, others yet in bright blue uniforms. All are stern and unyielding in their duty. Why? What's this? A headless man riding a horse? A headless man wearing futuristic tracksuit trousers that say found.
Oh, that's the Headless Phone Rider. The Headless Phone Rider. It's an urban legend about a man who rides the streets of Revachol sporting a fawn tracksuit. As you see, he's missing his head. 50 cents. Bargain priced. I'll throw in the tiny cap too. I think he's looking for it, or something. That part of the story has many interpretations. Did I mention that this figurine is supposed to be lucky? Always carry it with you.
The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the unblinking eyes of their tape reels. One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox that says Stereo 8 approved. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Is the Harman Welsh W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul, plays all reel-to-reel formats, 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. It'll set you back 12 real. If police work means playing tapes, sure, you can use it for that. Or any other time you'd need to play a tape. Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech. Found
A couple of indicator lights are missing from this control panel. Loose wires dangle from the now vacant holes. In the middle is a lever. Beneath it, a small... This panel usually closes the water lock, turning it into a bridge that lets you cross the canal. But there's a crashed salmon and butter sign in the way. Pulling the lever probably won't do anything. You pull the lever all the way up until the metal clicks against the contact pins. You hit, nothing happens. Nothing happens. A cold gust of wind blowing in from the... A spring brings the lever back to its original position. You still need to close the water lock to get across the... Wasn't there a sign over there saying functionality will be restored on Wednesday morning?
G'day to you, officers.
A burly man hangs out by the waterlock, carving up a generous serving of salami with an old hunter's knife. His eyes are fixed on a man stranded on the other side of the waterlock and on an enormous billboard that has fallen down into the canal between them. His posture is relaxed. Despite his powerful build and the knife in his hand, this man resorts to physical intimidation only infrequently.
I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Then again, plenty of daredevil drivers in Revachol. Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here, especially a waterlock. The rest of the coast is closed off till then. Sure thing. Want some too, officer?
Why not?
It's supposed to operate the waterlock, but as noted, it's all junk right now. Disabled because of the blockage. Safety measure. Turns out the panel needs a special key to be reactivated. Wouldn't want anyone moving the waterlock with debris still in the channel. It'll be restarted on Wednesday morning. You want to do the honors when the time comes? Great! Just drop in on Wednesday if you want to see the waterlock at work. They say the canal crew will be here at 7:15. Well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market, a bizarro church. Not much use to the congregation, though. Yeah, not really much else. Just...
Yes?
There are clothes inside. Cheap second-hand clothes.
Don't be shy. These are premium class clothes. Good quality fabrics, best retro design. Save the economy with your style, officer.
How about some premium class service over here? Like paying with net worth. Go over and ask him if you can do that. Save the economy? That sounds off. You find your hands deep in tattered and faded garments made from weird polyester blends that make your body itch and sweat in all the wrong places.
Economical, but also trendy. Look first-hand, buy second-hand. Keep the economy moving.
Something cold grazes your hand. Synthetic and sleek. A windbreaker. Surf, it says, but also wind, summer, 100%
Good choice, officer. Mega sporty. And it's only $4.50 for you, sir. Haven't you heard, officer? We've got to be economically conscious. Recycle your cash, keep it in circulation. Don't buy new things. Buy eco. Very cool.
There's a pile of cheap.
You like sunglasses, officer? I've got the latest styles right here.
Stylish shades, huh? They'd be even more stylish if these are all boring. Boring third-rate ho-hum sunglasses made of cheap Syrahese plastic. The kind of plastic that melts in the sun. Those UV stickers are almost certainly just there for the show. If anything, these lenses probably direct more UV light into your pupils. A UV magnifier.
These are all first-rate sunglasses. Premium design, super material, very cool. UV resistant. These will definitely keep your eyes safe and cool while doing your dangerous police work. The shine.
Stylish shades, huh?
Oh, very interesting choice, officer. Very high culture.
This is how a sea monster sees the world. You've become a sea monster. Giant, hidden, and strangely tender at heart. All is...
Wow, officer. You look so cool. And they can be yours for a mere 3 real. My regular customers have passed them all up because they've got no taste. But you found them.
The lieutenant tilts his head and steps back, eyes narrowed in a thorough examination. It's a case to him.
You look like a musician. Like a blind musician. But you could do worse. Take them if you want.
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Are you trying to sneak up on me? Come to slit my throat in my sleep? Pig's come to take me out, trying to snuff me out. Don't get fucking clever with me, pig. You think you're so clever.
The spread pattern of these bullet holes makes your chest ache. Your breath grows heavier. More old bullet holes. Half a century at least. From the revolution.
Bullet holes generally look the same, so probably. But you're right. More old bullet holes from the revolution. Plenty.
It's been a week and now they show up?
Hey, up here, Piggo.
A striking woman leans against the cabin top of her sailing boat, smiling as you approach. Her green raincoat glistens with droplets. A silk scarf is tied around her throat.
Good afternoon, officers. I'm Joyce. Joyce L. Messier. I represent the board of Wild Pines, the owners of the harbour. You gentlemen must be from the RCM. I'm glad to see you here. I was dispatched to handle a strike, not a lynching. Anything I can do to assist the RCM in this matter, I will, gladly.
That is good to hear, madame. My colleague will take the lead on this interview. I should let you know that he is recovering from an unusual medical episode. Very unusual. But I can assure you of his ultimate competency.
How interesting. I wish you a swift recovery. In the meanwhile, you have my full cooperation, and the full cooperation of the Wild Pines Group. quite a few things, I'm afraid. The information I'm to share with you includes sensitive trade secrets. For the sake of my employer, I have to ask for your names and badge numbers.
Of course, ma'am. We should have introduced ourselves. I am Lieutenant Kitsuragi, from Precinct 57. And this is my colleague from Precinct 41. I'm afraid he doesn't have his badge at the moment. I hope mine will suffice.
How curious. Why is that, Detective? I see. So, are you saying you lost your badge during the course of this episode? Oh dear. Some kind of encephalopathic amnesia. I don't even know how to respond. I do believe you, naive as that may sound. I simply can't imagine what you gain by faking such a condition.
As I said, ma'am, his technique may be very unconventional, but he is an officer of the RCM.
Of course, I sympathize, but I'm afraid I simply can't share anything more until I've seen that badge.
Hang on. She's a professional negotiator. She should be open to some sort of mutually beneficial arrangement. Feelings will guide the way.
I assure you, it is no small matter for me either. We all share the responsibility for disarming this situation. I hope you have a badge for me as soon as possible.
She's silent. The wind flaps the sail above her.
Officer. You know, I don't mean to sound cold, but if you want something, you have to give something back. More than just guilt.
You're doing it. Despite your own best efforts, you're still getting in. Somehow.
I'll be frank with you. If I'm going to break protocol, I need to be able to justify it to my superiors. They're going to want to see something tangible. The Union is conducting drug trade out of the harbor. It's an open secret in Martinez. Surely it must not come as a complete surprise to the RCM either. Perhaps it's time to look into it. Or you can find your badge, which honestly seems like a lost cause.
Detective, a word in private before we continue.
Advanced race theory. Everything is calm in the eye of the race storm. Your mind is lucid and bright. The mind-bending phylogenetics appear more distant and, to be fair, a little ridiculous. The great race mystery has cleared up. All that's left to do is verbalize your thoughts. Go and talk to Measurehead about your newly found insights. Some kind of superstar. They say the world isn't ready for a rock and roll cop. No one wants their state monopoly on violence to be mixed with celebrity worship. They claim to know it would be dangerous for detectives to rise to the ranks of demigods and have sexual encounters with barely legal cover girls. It would be insane, they say. To all this, you say, "Fuck off and die," in a cool voice. You people have no idea how good these cops are gonna get. They're gonna crack 20 cases a day. In the future, cops will be like astrophysicists, or prime ministers, or prophets. And you're the first one.
This is not going quite as I hoped it would, Detective. Honestly, I was expecting you to use your unorthodox technique to keep her off balance, and not volunteer us to be her henchman. This woman is running circles around us. She might have known about your misplaced badge all along, or she's simply an adept improviser. Either way, we've played straight into her hands.
A sturdy metal door guards the southwest entrance. The door rattles against your knuckles, but the door rattles again. But this time, you hear an elderly woman.
Stop banging on the door! I'm not letting any more strangers inside. The police? Everyone knows the police don't come round here. No, I already told you. I won't be responsible for any more strangers. Go check the backyard door. Maybe someone there will.
Backyard door? There must be another entrance to the east.
Madame, I assure you, we are real police officers.
There is no reply. You see a young man on a balcony nursing a cigarette.
Not looking for any trouble, officer. There's no trouble. I'm just speaking in a lowered voice. I don't want to be seen talking to the gendarmerie, if that's okay. I just want to finish my cigarette.
It's the god of cigarettes and youth. Ask him if he's got anything to spare. Don't let him go. This could be your witness. The balcony has a great view of the whole thing.
Is it really that important?
Like a nervous cat, he keeps stealing looks at the neighboring windows.
All right, but make it quick. Once I finish this cigarette, I have to run. I'd even go so far as to say that the view is a little too good, my dear gendarme. Do you have an estimate of when the body will be taken away?
We will remove the body as soon as possible. Now tell us, where were you last Sunday?
Oh. You already asked me that, didn't you?
Wait, is someone else investigating the lynching?
No, not you. Some more muscular type.
And when did you speak to this more muscular gentleman?
Last week? I don't know. Look.
He's an actor declaiming a soliloquy. See how you hang on his every word?
You didn't answer the question. What were you doing last Sunday?
I had a friend over. It was my Sunday friend.
A Sunday friend? How intriguing. He doesn't reply, gesturing no with his cigarette. In the neighboring windows, you can see faint reflection.
My name? My name is Martin Martinez.
That's definitely not his real name.
No, of course not. Could you please lower your voice? No. We won't. Now, if you'll excuse me, I really need to get going.
Time to bring out your secret charm. tears and begging. Show him your emotional side. Throw yourself before his very feet like a dog.
Trash?
Please don't go. I'll even stop smoking inside.
Listen, I really have to go. Good luck with the investigation.
He's gone. No point in running. Tenements like these often have multiple exits. If he doesn't want to talk to us, then he'll know how to hide himself. He could be a witness. Him or his Sunday friend. Either way, we need to look into that muscular type. There has to be a way of getting inside the building. Let's go check out the door near the pier again. Once we found the way in, we can ask around for his apartment.
A sturdy metal door guards the southwest entrance too. This could be a way into the apartment building the smoking man had vanished into.
Good. We had enough problems with bums and drunks and thieves loitering in the hallway. You have no business here.
You're well versed in the kind of threatening legalese that implies criminal liability, but in fact has no meaning whatsoever.
I know my rights, and don't you marm me, boy.
Miss, would it help if we offer to show you our badges?
Ah, it's like a carrot to the stick. So
Hold your horses. I don't care about your stinking badge. Just come in.
Look at me when I'm talking to you.
this door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board says, "No reply. No reply." It's a solid lump of metal, but the shackle is deeply corroded. A solid pair of chain cutters would make better. Whip out those cutters. You won't get very far otherwise. This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board. This door has been closed with a padlock. The shackle snaps like a twig, and the...
After you, detective.
A plaster cast bust depicts a middle-aged man with impressive sideburns. Krasmazov, nom de guerre, was an economist and a theoretical historian. He was a leading figure in the Grad side of the turn-of-the-century revolution, where he headed the 9-day government. Mazov is considered the father of scientific communism. Mazovian thought.
The White Star, the photos on the wall. I think we have broken into the apartment of a young communard. How fitting.
You hear someone walking around inside. The walking stops abruptly. You hear someone, a poor communard from the looks of it. The room.
Let's go. We don't have a reason to get inside.
It's generally easier to do things if you have literally any.